Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Ben the Human Plays Hollywood Animal. Is this the episode where I get kicked out of the Alliance for a second time? Not a third time yet. The chopping floor has made $4 million. Dude, look how well we did. 21,000 essentially was bang on. This is the best I've ever done. 16 at 95, and then 10 was 97, and then we dropped it too fast actually. So 21, 16, 10, and this is like an 7 star-ish movie, and then probably closer to like 7 or maybe 8, because this was 5, 6. You'd think it would have, maybe it's like a percentage drop off, because this is like a quarter. And then a third. And then I don't know. We're definitely going to set up distribution to run this back here. So maybe we go for 6. Because we have space. So run it with 6 there. And then maybe 5. 15. Are you insane? 5,000. And then we're out of theaters. But then maybe 3,500 and like run it back, but like have a spare. You have a week where you don't run it in theaters at all. It's kind of an insane gambit. So we're gonna run it here, and it needs to make $138,000 back. New script: Malicious Deceased. It's The Evil Dead. I forgot about this movie. 6.8, 6.4, 6.3 is really good. Who wrote that? Felix Hill, you wrote? That's not a comedy. Oh, it's just straight up horror. Okay. What a guy. Start the project. I have a movie that I want Felix Hill to write. I want him to write Robin Hood Men in Tights. I just haven't done it yet. So we have a couple 7-star guys. But my better directors, well, not necessarily, my only better director is tied up in the muck. There are no better directors. Interesting. You have an 8-star potential. Does that mean you'd be better than the guys I have lying around? You're an 8-star potential, you're a 7. 7. I think Jacob Bierman's on the outs then. If you're a 6-star boy, and we're rocking 7s and 8s otherwise, I don't see why I wouldn't hire Alan Gilbert. And he's pretty cheap too. Alan, you're in. Other guy is out. I've already forgotten his name. I have a terrible habit in this, in any video game really, when I'm recording in YouTube. As soon as like something is no longer relevant information to me, it's out the window. And it's not even necessarily not relevant. It's just like past my, no longer on my screen, it's gone. Jacob Bierman, that's what his name was. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jacob. You've done some good work for me in the past, I think. But yeah, just being a 6-star guy, we've got other dudes. So we're gonna put Alan Gilbert to the task. He's won a Pollux Award as well. So I don't know who kicked him to the curb. That was quite the choice. Country interiors. Let's check. Okay, none of those. We're still waiting on our blue wave or whatever that other camera was called to work through the backlog. Oh, did we actually unlock it? Oh, we have. Hold on. So the blue term. Oh, no. The blue term iris is the one we have access to. We're working on the blue term iris deluxe, which, now that I look at it, actually only adds 1 pip to the economy. But technically better in practicality and economy than the Hespro is. They're both black and white. When did color film get invented? Wasn't that like the 70s or something? It's a lot later. But we're still working on the 2 films shot entirely, and then the film shot with the cinematographer at level 8. So that's still happening. Whoops, I meant to use the Hespro. And then the Dominus. I don't think I have access to... I don't have access to the level... or the second research group yet. I would love to get my hands on that. I don't think I have any directors that are good at horror. I don't think the genre's been around long enough. Clumsy Oaf, Evil Monster, Search for a Killer. Somebody's good at Struggle for a Better Life. But I might have fired that guy. in all honesty. Saving the Beloved, Winning the Beloved. Maybe let Franklin... Well, you know what? We should probably have a guy who doesn't have any of those traits, just so he can learn some traits. So Clumsy Oaf, let's give this to Theodore Reynolds, maybe? Have you played a Clumsy Oaf? No. And then the Damsel in Distress. Let's give this to Cecilia Wood. Sidekick. I'm gonna make Hugh Barker the evil monster. Sidekick will make Pete Lukowitz here. This is gonna be a good movie. I have a feeling. Hit it. All right. Felix Hill just finished up his job. Sigmund, I don't know what you were doing, but you're now doing research. And Cornelius, you sir as well. But Felix, I need you to run back a new story. Is Robin Hoodie? I forget. I can't use the colon. Boys in Lederhosen. Is this how you spell Lederhosen? I'm pretty sure. Is a guess, but I'm pretty sure. You get the idea. It's a pure comedy. It's a tiny bit historical. Like the least amount you can. Can I do 5? I can do a 5%. You know, at that point, just make it a comedy. Like, it's set in the Middle Ages. It really has nothing to do with history. There's the barest grain of truth in there. He is a daring adventurer. He's also kind of an outcast. But I think it's more of a daring adventurer. Lost their way? Nah, he's definitely a daring adventurer. The antagonist is a corrupt official, but I will call him a heartless bureaucrat here. The king. Obviously, there's a love interest. There's obviously a sidekick. There's also the Sheriff of Nottingham, which is hilarious that he's a supporting character. The heartless bureaucrat is King John. Sheriff of Nottingham is like an enemy, really. And then I think the sheriff is more of a Western thing, right? Officer of the law, yeah. I think the Sheriff of Nottingham in the Robin Hood story is more of an enemy than quote sheriff the character. So I think rival would make more sense. Yeah, Lestrade for Sherlock Holmes, not a villain. Well, he is a villain. Competing with the protagonist. Yeah, he's more of a villain. I think we'll stick with the heartless bureaucrat then. So love interest, or is she more of a damsel in distress? There's like, can you make them the same character? I don't think so. But there is a sidekick. We got Little John. There's many, the whole band of merry men, really. And then, all right, what do we got? We've got not really a love triangle. We do have Saving the Beloved. There is Winning the Beloved. The finale is the antagonist gets punished. I actually don't remember how Robin Hood Men in Tights ends, but I'm gonna say the antagonist gets punished. Give it to Felix Hill. I have faith in my comedy writer, man. Have at it. Now, the fact that I brought up the research team, you guys, I know I don't have any R&D groups available because they're all working on whatever I told them to work on last time. It was like, make your own sound tech. Where are you? What are they working on right now? No. There they are. 1,936 days to make the sonotone venomous. Oh, I love my own brain. So yeah, research group 2 is the one that they've been working on forever. Wait a minute. You can add research groups even as you're inventing and developing technology, but you cannot research 2 upgrades at the same time. So what's the point of the additional research group? And what's the point of you? You can build another office? Did I go down the wrong way? I should have gone for invention speed. What was I thinking? Well, we've made our bed and now we're lying in it. We've come too far. We're like 3/4 of the way and we still have a year and a half to go. What was I thinking? Wonderful. Well, for future playing, you know, maybe there's something we could do better there. Let's speed up time. I was actually looking at like the play length of the game, and right now, you know, I think we're about halfway through the game. When did the game start? Maybe the game started in 29. So I guess we're about a third or a fourth of the way through the game, because the game currently only goes through Act 1 in early access, and that stops hard at 1949. So we've got a ways to go. All right, the amount of money we're making here has fallen off dramatically, so let's end distribution. Good job, Jupiter's Assault. You made $3.2 million net, so that's pretty good. And we're still waiting on some of our guys to finally finish their, like, years-long odyssey with writing these movies when I had 8 writers lying around. Heroic is ready. It's gone down a bit. Fast forward. This is the one with that I based on Brave, I believe. So we've got like a lady. She should really, you know, the fact that this woman has a sword is much more in line with the character of Merida than either of these 2 women who seem to be fleeing danger, mayhaps. A woman with a sword. That's how we want it to go down. All right, so we got this. You're a much lower movie than the 21,000 theaters we could roll with. So I actually think we can overlap Heroic here with The Witch fairly okay. So let's say 19,000. That's dropping 2,000 off from the high of the previous film. And then maybe because War of the Worlds might extend a bit. 1, 2, 3. Maybe you drop it back and still run it at 19 or 19,000. You know what? I think 19,000 is too high. Let's go 18. That leaves a little bit of space for War of the Worlds, because War of the Worlds is a good movie. And then we dropped it to 16 before, so maybe 1,300 or 13,000. Just kind of making it up as I go. And then 10,000 was bang on, so let's drop it down to 8, and then go for 5. Good. Add. Irvine. Have at it. I can't wait to be able to print my own films, too. That's going to save us, like, a decent chunk of money. You know, it's like 50 to, like, 80 grand every time we make a movie. You know, it's not nothing. It's a little bit of nothing when it comes to... This is best suited for young men, but not girls? I wrote this movie for girls. I guess we should get young men in here. Hold on. I'm referring to my chart. Because Spice Mice is for kids. So young men kind of fits in there, but not women. So maybe we should do 7. 7 advertising? Have I gone crazy? I guess we try it. $300,000. Anybody want to do a trick here? Dara? Hell yeah. Get her out there. Rachel? No. Rachel Margulies would never. Apply it. Confirm. Good job, team. Back to speed. Mr. and Mrs. Luck. Not a bad movie. I am a little sad that we keep dropping below the artistic level, because if you're above 9, the fact that we're a boutique studio causes word of mouth to trigger, which causes your film to just like run continuously for like months on end. It's happened one time for me on accident, and that was pretty sick. I also didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I definitely squandered the opportunity. What on earth? There's like a pirate in the background. What is this about? An adventure with an evil witch. And then the couple gets married. There's no witch in any of these. Like, they're so weird. Let's just go with this middle one. It's better than heroic, which is wild. Yeah, let's run it at max. If the witch runs it back, it's probably not going to be for very much, because the witch, quote unquote, ended up being a much lower film than I thought it would, score wise. So 21, and then 18. Or no, it was 16 before. Sorry. So it dropped by about 5. Although this is 22 now that I look at it. Whatever. So 16, and then it was 10. Roughly similar score movies. This one's slightly lower, actually, so I might actually knock it down here. Just so we have 850 theaters available that the Vitch could run in if we wanted to. And then it was slightly too low. So maybe we go for 8,000 here to see how that do. Maybe 7,500. The curve looks so wrong when I do 800 or 8,000. There. I don't know why. That looks slightly better to me. We don't need to speed it up. Irvine it is. Apply. 4th of July. Woohoo! Worst for men, but best for young men. Huh. Well, that's weird. Worst for young men, but worst for old men, but best for young men. There's some disparate stuff happening here. So definitely you two. Definitely you, because this is young plus adults. And then this one is all men, which includes young men, but also normal men. So maybe you 5? That's confusing. I think it's because I have disparate themes going on, and which is, my fault. But I like to make unique movies, okay? I'm not all about min-maxing in this game. All right, neither of you is cool. I understand how it is. Yeah, I know. You can't blame me for my actors being boring. The Moaning Dawn. The trick has worked. The War of the Worlds. The end is nigh. Ah, man, I want to put exclamation marks so bad, and then I'm never allowed. The Last Merry Fellow on Earth. So you were a much lower ranking film. And honestly, 13 probably would have done the trick. And then maybe 6, 5, 3. So I overshot by a lot there. Do I want to set up distribution for this guy? There's not really theaters available. And I would probably like to... Well, I might as well. Like, nothing else is running now. We've finished Jupiter's Assault. The chopping floor might run back in the last two weeks here. In which case, we'll want to keep some of it open. But I think if we just run it at, like, 2 and then 1... I think we'll make whatever money we dump into advertising back and then some. Maybe. 140? I guess this is an experiment for me. The long journey we could write the Lord of the Rings! Yes! It's finally happened! My life is complete. A+ for War of the Worlds. F you, Bone Grinder. You don't know art when it smacked you in the face with a whale tail. That is a phrase I have just invented. All right, speed up with money. Money ain't no thing anymore. All right. Cost $1 million to make this movie. No, it cost $888,000 to make this movie. Well, let's get our other stuff into real production here. 4 and 3. Not too bad. Started off really bad, so like, you know, anything we can do improves things. And then security, please, Mr. Ben Khan. And then Empire of Hell. It's gone down. Oofta. What happened? Was that a training movie? I didn't do a training movie on that. How? You know what? It's because it's a really like epic movie, right? But we don't have enough extras. We don't have like shooting on location. So like we're shooting this medieval battle movie in the frickin' sound stage. They're trying to bring in horses. Yeah, exactly. The extras, the costumes, the props, the location. Even the cinematographer was a drag. So I do kind of understand where they're coming from with that now. I'm beyond just being able to drag my movies to success in the soundstage. I have to start branching out, which we're working on. We are working on better costumes and props. We're working on filming on location somewhere. Are we not working on filming on location? We are not. My bad. Eventually we will. Okay. Full speed ahead. All right, hit the theater, please. There you go. This one's exciting. That's the most I've never run that many theaters before. It's the max of what I can use. It'll be exciting to see how that shakes out. The trick has worked for War of the Worlds. Oh, damn, it made $1.8 million in the first week. Not too bad. The malicious deceased has entered filming stage. Oh, that's a good movie. 8 and 7. Once again, the locations, the costumes, and the props were a drag. We're gonna be working on that. There's only so much we can do. Dr. Hyena and Mr. Leather, which I realize now sounds like a terrible porno movie, which is not what I set my theater up to be. So the chopping floor, honestly, made almost $1 million back. Do I want to set it up again? Because like, hold on. We were dropped down to about 1,700 people, filling 1,700 screenings at the end there. I think you can squeeze a little more blood out of this stone. So let's do 1,500. 1,500. I mean, we might as well. Because, like, who's going to run anything at this time? Nobody is. So maybe the War of the Worlds will run stuff back. And we'll want to keep a little bit of space open for them. But I think we can do 1,000 at the tail end of this and not impact the second run of either of these two films that much. I think that'll be fine. Do I want to run back advertising, though? Is the question. Because that would be another $140,000. I think we're getting very close to not being able to make that money back. So I think I'm going to go no advertising, but a little bit of a third run for the chopping floor, which has made over $5 million, which is sick. You Nazi scum, get out of my office. I proudly present... Oh, I gotta give him the German accent. I proudly present to you The Son of the Fatherland, a destined epic about the birth of the fatherland. The writer, Ulrich Jost, worked on the script non-stop for 2 years. He practically lived in the library. We gave him access to the secret sections where only the inner circle of the party are allowed. The Historical Council studied the results of his work for nearly 3 months, and unanimously concluded the entire script is the purest truth. Believe me, I understand perfectly well that you have little interest in all this history and the origins of the Reich. But you're probably interested in fascinating stories, and Son of the Fatherland has a story like no other. Even my black heart trembles before the climax every time I read it, which I've done so often that I know it by heart. We would happily make this film ourselves, but today a film made in Germany will be shown only in Germany, and we do not wish the heart-wrenching story to fall victim to prejudices and politics. It would be a very different matter if an American studio took on the film. We have a true documentary about German history, and you will get a guaranteed hit, and the audience will receive a gripping epic. Everyone wins. For this, we are willing to invest $1.5 million in the project, and of course, in the production, and of course you can keep all the profits from the North American box office. We'll sort out the rest of the world. Show me that magical script. I'm not sure we're interested. Let's see what, I do kind of want to see. We don't make that kind of crap for sure. That's real Ben talking. I do kind of want to see what they wrote. What is this? Son of the Fatherland by Ulrich Jost. It is a 50% historical, 30% action, 20% adventure. He's an 8-star writer. In ancient Roman times, there lived a great commander, Tankmar the Blonde. He defended the empire from the hordes and was famous for his ruthlessness. Tankmar had but one weakness. He loved children. Tankmar burned the huts of the barbarians and impaled their heads on spikes, but the orphan children he fed and clothed, and on their knees they swore to renounce their ancestors and their animal ways. They were barbarian not by blood, but by upbringing. Plucked from the wild, they will become Romans, so said Tankmar. Antagonist is a tribal chief, of course. Once a young barbarian named Eosk was on his knees before the Roman commander, Tankmar, and torn his family limb from limb, but he'd spared Eosk, yet the barbarian could not appreciate his kindness, and vowed revenge on Tankmar. The years passed, and Eosk grew. He became stronger and found his own tribe and became their chief, but the hatred in his barbarian heart was always seething. One day, Eosk turned to his fellow tribesmen. "We will avenge our mothers and fathers," the barbarian horde shouted in reply. "Let's take revenge. We'll gouge out Tankmar's eyes." "No," Eosk said, "that is not our goal. I have a dream. Tankmar's youngest son, Eberhard, will kneel before me and renounce his father, as once I renounced mine." Torture in captivity. That very night, the barbarians lay in wait for blue-eyed Eberhard, not far from the Roman camp. They captured and bound him, and brought him to Eosk. "Kneel and renounce your father, and I will spare you." Eberhard beheld his barbarian captors, and was so sickened by their twisted faces and ugly hooked noses that he nearly fainted in disgust. But Eberhard gathered his strength, stood his ground, and did not kneel. He proudly lifted his blonde head. I love that they're like, he's blonde. For sure, blonde. I'm pretty sure the Romans didn't have a lot of blonde people. He spat right in the dirty barbarian's eye. Eosk wiped his face and ordered Eberhard thrown into the deepest hole until he came to his senses. Then Tankmar learned that his youngest son was missing. He raised his fist to the moon. "Sneaky Eosk, you never became a Roman, and you never will." He went to his wife and said quietly, "I made a mistake, Verena. You were right all along. It was not by their upbringing, but that they are barbarians by their animal blood." Ah, yes, we got back around to the xenophobia. Tankmar then took up the giant sword he had inherited from his ancestors, and with all his might, he set the blade upon the grindstone, and in the morning he set forth. A rescue mission. 3 days later, Tankmar followed Eosk's tracks, and at last he found the barbarian camp. Holy hell! He climbed up on the highest hill and shouted for all to hear. "Listen to me, barbarians. A person can be educated, but an animal is always waiting for the moment to bite, and expect no further mercy. I shall put everyone in your tribe to the blade, young and old alike." With these words, Tankmar rushed to attack, and with a single stroke of his mighty sword, he severed the heads of 12 children. What? And then he set upon the adults. He killed the younglings. As the surviving barbarians fled and cowered as Tankmar pulled his son from the pit, he took him in his arms, and they traveled home along the forest paths. The barbarians knew that Tankmar couldn't fight at full strength with Eberhard in his arms. They grew bold and hurried off in pursuit. The pursuers grew in number. Tankmar could hear the wild screams of the barbarians at his heels, the tramp of their feet and the whistling arrows ready to pierce his neck. But Tankmar was stronger and more agile than they. He wove between the trees, skipping from path to path, gradually shaking off his pursuers. It was then, at the very edge of the forest, when Tankmar had nearly slipped his pursuers, that one of vile Eosk's arrows pierced his leg. He dies heroically, of course, yes. Tankmar knew that he and his son, would be taken prisoner, and he forced to renounce their ancestors. He hugged Eberhard with all his strength. My son, it is better to die than kneel before animals. His mighty hand gripped the hilt of his sword, and he impaled himself and his son upon the fearsome blade, through and through. With his final breath, the dying Tankmar whispered, someday our glorious descendants will avenge everything. That is absolute insanity. Oh my God. Oh my God. Absolutely not. Get out. Oh my God. Did I learn all of those story elements, by the way, or did I just like hear about them? I'm just like, I wanna see blah 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 blah. ASD, drama, Middle Ages. I just want to see if I learned any of those things. Because it was themes, right? It is not. I did not pick up those themes. Very interesting, but no thank you to Nazi propaganda in this studio. I'm glad I did read it though, because that was insanity. Anyway, let's pause the episode there. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please click the like button. It helps me out a lot. If you want to see more episodes of Hollywood Animal or the other videos I have going on the channel, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have your notifications on so you know when the next videos go live. But until next time, everybody, I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody.